T1, T1. Which work done it is? This is the amount of work required to compress the air. Okay. And if we will simplify this one, then finally we will get this term. Work done equal to gamma by gamma minus 1, m mass of the air, r specific universal gas constant, T1 temperature of the inlet gas, P2 by P1 whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. Okay, so these things we have discussed. So related to this thing, one video I will play here. Related to this derivation, one video I will play, so that whatever we have done yesterday, everything will be clear. Okay, and after the completion of the video, one previous year problem we are going to solve. Previous year problem means I will show you the problem here. Okay, so in 2016, okay, one problem related to this air compressor we are going to solve today. That is question number 7B. Okay, so this is a 5 marks question. This question we are going to solve today. Okay, so today our aim is, first we will go through the video that regarding whatever the derivations we have done yesterday. Related to that one video is there. I will play the video once you go through it. Okay, and after that we are going to solve this problem, this previous year problem. Okay, so you be prepared with calculator. I am going to play the video, and right after the video we will solve this problem. So in this video, whatever we have discussed yesterday, whatever the derivations to find out the work done of reciprocating air compressor, the derivation whatever we have done yesterday, in this video once again you try to understand. Okay, because this derivation 2 times they have asked in the previous year papers. Okay, so that's why this derivation is little bit important. So I am going to play this video. Have a look on it.
In this video, I explain you meaning of without clearance, working of PV and PS diagrams, and derivations of work done from the PV and PS diagram. I also explain how to draw PV and PS diagram for these systems. So first, we understand what is the meaning of without clearance. Without clearance means this is the figure of single stage reciprocating compressor. Single stage means pressure is achieved in a one stage. Suppose we require a 9 bar pressure, and we achieve 1 to 9 bar pressure in a single stop, then it is known as a single stage reciprocating compressors. Now next meaning is the clearance volume. Clearance volume means the volume between the cylinder head and the piston when the piston is at the top dead center. The piston topmost position is known as the TDC, piston bottom position is known as the bottom dead centers. So when the piston is in top positions and the volume between the cylinder head and the piston at the top is known as the clearance volume. So we are studying the theory that is without clearance. That means there is a no space when the piston at the top dead centers. Now we understand its working. So these are work in a two-stroke. First one is from the top dead centers to bottom dead center, and second from the bottom dead center to the top dead centers. Now at the starting, piston is at the top dead centers, and the piston start to move towards the bottom dead center. At that time, the pressure inside the cylinder is start to reduce. When the pressure inside the cylinder is reduced, it's create the pressure difference between the atmosphere, that is means both the sides of the inlet valve. So at this side of this inlet valve, pressure is higher, and this side the pressure is lower. When this inlet valve is open, and atmospheric air is enter inside these cylinders. Now this is a one process, it's known as the suction process. That process we draw on the PV diagram. So on the y-axis it is a pressure, on the x-axis it is a volume. These are the TS diagram. On y-axis it's temperature, on the x-axis it is the entropy. So this suction process is an isobaric process. Isobaric means it is a constant pressure, and at the initial stage volume is 0. So if this point is starting something like here, that is a point number 4, this is a point number 4. So before the suction, the volume is 0. So this is a 0.4. And when the piston is moved from TDC to PDC, its volume is increased. And it's reached up to the point number 1. And P1 line on the TS diagram is drawn as a curve line. Like this, it is a P1 line. And the point number 1 is here. After that, piston reach to bottom dead center, it start to move towards BDC to the TDC. When the piston is moving from BDC towards the TDC, the pressure of the air is start to increase. When pressure is increased, then this inlet valve is closed and delivery valve is also closed. Then the volume is reduced, the inside volume of the air is reduced and pressure is increased. So it's known as the compression process. So compression process, the pressure is increased and volume is reduced. So this line is drawn as a curve line from the point 1. Pressure is increased means line is moving in upward direction and volume is reduced and point 2 is moving left side compared to the point number 1. So this is a 1 to 2 process and it is an isentropic compression process. During isentropic compression process, PV raised to gamma is equal to constant. So compression takes place in 3 different stages. So in 3 different types, that is isentropic, polytropic and isothermal. So second compression, before that we draw the TS diagram. It is isentropic means entropy is remains constant. When the entropy is remains constant, entropy on the x-axis, so it's drawn as a vertical line. That is a S1 and S2 is equal to the same. And it's achieved a certain pressure, that is a P2. So isentropic means entropy is remains constant and line is drawn verticals. Second types of the compression is the polytropic compression, that is indicated process 1 to 2 dash. So here also it's drawn like this curve line. It is a PV raised to n is equal to constants. Next is the isothermal compression. Isothermal means it's the process is 1 to 2 dash and PV is equal to constants. An isothermal line on a TS diagram, that means temperature is constant and temperature is constant, that means it's drawn as a horizontal line. That is 1 to 2 dash. So here we check that T1 and T2 dash is equal to same. That's the isothermal process. During isentropic, S1 is equal to S2. That's why it is drawn as the vertical line. So this compression is completed. Then after compression is completed, the delivery store is started. So we understand this the delivery store, that is a 2 to 3. When the pressure is reaches up to the certain level, means higher than that of the air receiver pressures, then the delivery valve is open and it supplied the air from the cylinder to the air receivers. Now we divide these diagrams in the different parts for better understanding. That is a point, B, C and D. That we already understand the delivery stock, the air is going into the compressed air is to the deliver in the air receiver. Now we find out the work done for this isentropic compression process. Isentropic compression means PV raised to gamma is equal to constants. So this is the PV diagram that we already know. This is equal to the area under this curve or area under this all the four cases. That is the area under the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Thus this reciprocating comparator without clearance. Okay. So we return that the work done will be area under the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 on a PV diagram. Now we divide this area on a 3 different parts. So first we dividing this area as a one rectangle, that is a 2, 3, AP. Okay, now what is the area of this rectangle? So that is height is P2 and its width is V2. So area for this rectangle is P2 upon P2 into V2. So first we return that area under this 2, 3, AP2 is equal to P2 into V2. Next area we divide that it is the area under this curve line. That means area under the curve line 1 to 2. So area under the 1 to BC. So area under the 1 to BC is equal to the P2V2 means this area P2V2 minus P1V1 divided by gamma minus 1. Now we require only this area for 1, 2, 3. So we require to minus this area. So we minus the area under the 1,4 line. So area under this 1,4 AC line is minus. So minus area under the 1,4 AC. So this is again the rectangle. So height of this rectangle is P1 and the width is V1. So area under this is a P1 into V1. So here we write that is a minus P1 into V1. Next, we simplify this equation. How we simplified it? So this is the equation for work done. P2V2 is equal to these equations. Now we take this step together, that is a P2V2 minus P1V1. So this equation is written like that, and we take this common, that is a P2V2 minus P1V1 is taken as the common. Then after the remaining is the 1 plus 1 upon gamma minus 1. Then here we take the LSH. So this equation is written as like this. Here the gamma minus 1 plus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. So 1 is cancelled, so it is a gamma upon gamma minus 1 in bracket P2V2 minus P1V2. Further, according to the perfect gas equation, P1V1 is equal to MRT1. Okay, so this equation is written as gamma upon gamma minus 1 into MR in bracket P2 minus P1. So it is a simplified way it is written, but it is not further used for the derivations. We use this equation for the derivation. Okay. So from this equation, we take the P1V1 common. So this equation is written like that, gamma upon gamma minus 1, we take P1V1 common. So in bracket P2V2 P2V2 divided by P1 into V1 minus 1. Now it is an isentropic compression process. So it is a P1V1 raised to gamma is equal to P2V2 raised to gamma. So in the, we replace the P2 upon P1 with the respect to the pressure. So from these equations, we find out the value of V2 upon V1. So V2 is remains here, V1 is come on the right side and V2 is going on the left side. So we get this equation. V2 upon V1 is equal to V2 upon P1. So gamma is the power of V2 and V1. When it is going on another side, it is a 1 upon gamma. Then after we reciprocate the pressure, that is a instance of P2 upon P1. Sorry, P1 upon P2, we write the P2 upon P1. Okay, so we reciprocate it and it is a power is change. It is positive from the negative. Now we putting this value that P2 upon P1 is equal to 1 minus gamma in sense of P2 upon P1. So we put this value and we get these equations. Then after we simplify that, here the P2 upon P1, that is the power is 1 into P2 upon P1, power is 1 minus gamma 1. So it is a summation of the power. That means P2 upon P1 raised to 1 minus 1 upon gamma. Then we get this equation. That is a P2 upon P1 raised to gamma minus 1 upon gamma. So it is our final equations for a work done, that is a joule per cycle, joule per second per cycles. This equation is also written as that instead of T1V1 we write the MRT1. That is a joule per second per cycles. Next, we remove the mass from these equations. That is a we not consider the mass. Then the unit is changed. That is a joule per cycle per kg of air. So these are the final equations for the isentropic process. Then
Okay, so that is the derivation that we have already completed last class. Okay, so now the next thing is we are going to find out some previous year problem which is based upon this formula, like I told in this problem. Okay, so in this problem we have to calculate the power input to the compressor. Here in this question, I will go in detail, but the aim is in this problem, we have to calculate the power input to the compressor. Okay, so what is power input to the compressor? And here the mechanical efficiency is given 80%. Okay. So before that, for this compressor, we should know what is the formula to calculate the mechanical efficiency. Once you know the formula to calculate mechanical efficiency, after that we can solve this problem. So can you tell me what is the formula of mechanical efficiency? Because in this problem, mechanical efficiency is given 80%. So can you tell me how to calculate mechanical efficiency? What is the formula to calculate mechanical efficiency? You can put a message or you can tell how to calculate mechanical efficiency. Mechanical efficiency of compressor. Okay. So already in IC engine, we have studied 344. Prashant, he is telling mechanical efficiency equal to indicated power by brake power. 308. Srikant, brake power by indicated power. Okay. So here in mechanical efficiency, there is a little bit of confusion. So I will clear the confusion and then we will proceed. Okay. So first, before that, I will tell you what is the difference over here. So suppose this is the engine cylinder, this is the inlet valve. Here we'll be having okay. So suppose this is the engine cylinder. Inlet valve, exhaust valve, spark plug, piston, connecting rod, crankshaft. So we know we have three types of power. One is indicated power, okay. One is frictional power, and one is brake power. Three types of power we know. Already we have discussed this. Okay. So where this indicated power is generated? This indicated power is generated inside the engine cylinder due to the burning of air fuel mixture. Inside the combustion chamber, due to the burning of air fuel mixture, where whatever the power will generate, that is called as indicated power. Okay. Second, what do you mean by this brake power? So whatever the power will generate here, that power will transmit from this point to this point. What is this point? This point is our crankshaft. This is our crankshaft. Okay. So when the power will transmit from this point to this point, after that only this crankshaft will rotate. So whatever the power we are getting here in the crankshaft, that power is called as brake power. And the difference between indicated power and brake power is called as frictional power. Because during this power transmission, some power losses will be there. Okay, that power loss is called as frictional power, or simply the difference between indicated power and brake power is called frictional power. So for a IC engine, for this IC engine, okay, so what is the formula of mechanical efficiency we have derived? Okay, so normally what is the formula of efficiency? Efficiency means output divided by input. Yes or no? Efficiency, whether it is thermal efficiency, whether it is mechanical efficiency, whether it is volumetric efficiency, whatever the efficiencies are there, the meaning of efficiency means output divided by input. Okay, that is the meaning of the efficiency. So that's why in this IC engine, which is the input output power? This is the output power. Okay, whatever the power we are getting in the crankshaft, that is the output power, because this crankshaft is connected with the bike wheel, and when this crankshaft will rotate, accordingly your wheel will also rotate and your vehicle will move. So this is the output power. So that's why in output power we have written brake power. And what is the input power? This is the input power, indicated power, because we are supplying air and fuel mixture. This air fuel mixture will burn and we will get the indicated power. Okay, so this indicated power will be input power. Okay. So that's why for IC engine, the formula of mechanical efficiency is brake power by indicated power. But when we will discuss regarding compressor, regarding this compressor, in this compressor, the formula of mechanical efficiency will change. Here, the formula of mechanical efficiency will be reverse. That is brake power divided by indicated power. Here, the formula will change. Now, the question is why this formula will change over here. Okay. So, yesterday I have told you how this compressor will work. So I will show you the figure, then you can understand this thing. Right, in this figure here. Okay, so how the compressor will work? So first, to start the compressor, this motor, we have to run this motor. When this motor will rotate, the crankshaft. Okay, so the input power for this compressor will be this motor, and this input power we are supplying to the crankshaft. So here in crankshaft, normally we are getting the brake power. So in case of compressor, the input power becomes brake power. Okay. So similarly, here also I will explain you. Okay. So this is the compressor. This is the cylinder where we are going to compress the air, and this is the motor. This motor, with the help of a belt arrangement, it is connected with the crankshaft of the engine. So when we have to start the engine, we have to rotate this motor, and when this motor will rotate, it will rotate the crankshaft. Then after, this piston will move up and down. So input to this cylinder is given by the help of this motor. Okay, so input we are providing to crankshaft, and from crankshaft we are getting brake power. So that's why for a compressor, input power is nothing but brake power. Okay, so that's why input power is, that's why for a compressor, input, in place of input power, we have written brake power. Okay, and indicated power is what? Whatever the derivation work done we have got to compress the air. So this is the indicated power. So this thing, once I will give the definition of mechanical efficiency of compressor. Okay. So mechanical efficiency of compressor is defined as the ratio between indicated power and brake power. Okay, so if we write it, it can make, that is mechanical efficiency equal to indicated power whole divided by brake power. Okay, so this is the formula to calculate mechanical efficiency. So this thing we can also write as mechanical efficiency is equal to indicated power, means whatever the power required to compress the air. Okay, so indicated power means power required to compress air whole divided by, what do you mean by brake power? Brake power means whatever the power we are supplying by motor. So brake power means power supplied by motor. So you can write in this manner also. Okay, so brake power means normally this brake power we are getting at the crankshaft, and in case of compressor, the motor will supply the power to crankshaft. So that's why brake power is nothing but power supplied by motor to crankshaft, and indicated power is nothing but whatever the power required to compress the air. And this power required to compress the air, how to calculate? This is the formula. Okay, this is the formula to calculate power required to compress the air. Okay, so this formula also I will write. Power required to compress the air, or indicated power. For this one, the formula will be, so power required to compress the air is nothing but work done by compressor for time. Okay, so work done by compressor per time means this is the work done by the compressor, okay, during isentropic process. Okay, per time, per divided by time, if we do, we will get the power required to compress the air, or indicated power. Okay, and sometimes, so how to calculate this power in this question? If this mass is given in terms of kg per second, so directly this work done we will get in watt. Okay, normally the unit of work done is joules. Okay, if this mass is given in kg per second, it will become joule per second. So joule per second is watt, and watt is nothing but the power. Sometimes what will happen, the unit of mass is given in only kilojoules. Suppose the mass flow rate of air, they will give 1.5 kg. Okay, so in that case, from this formula, whatever the unit of work we will get, that will be in terms of joules. But what we require? We require power. So what we have to do? In that case, we have to divide it by a time period. Okay, so in that case, what we have to do? Or it will be work done into that small n we have to do here. Okay, so what is this small n? Small m is called speed of the engine. Speed of engine in RPM. Okay, so two things I am telling. Suppose in the question paper, this mass value they have given in kg. So if this mass value, if you will put in kg, then this unit becomes joule, because the unit of work done is joules. So, but we require the power. How we will get the power? If we multiply the speed of the engine, because the unit of the speed is revolution per minute. Okay, it is the revolution per minute. If we will multiply this revolution per minute with work done, so we will get the unit in joule per minute or joule per second. So in that case, we will get the unit as power, or watts we will get. Sometimes what will happen? This unit of mass they will mention in kilojoule kg per second. In the question, they will mention mass flow rate of air is 1.5 or 2 kg per second. If this mass of the unit they have given in kg per second, then no need to multiply this N directly, because kg per second means if we will put kg, the unit becomes joules. If the unit is given kg per second, this unit becomes joule per second, that is nothing but watt, and watt is nothing but directly power we will get. Okay, so all this doubt will be clear when we will solve this problem. So whatever the 2016 question paper I have shown you, okay, the same question I have written here. Okay, so now we are going to solve this question. So you be prepared with calculator, okay, and you tell me the answer so that we can be able to solve this question. So first thing, we have to write down the given data. A single acting, single cylinder reciprocating air compressor is compressing 20 kilojoules per minute of air. Okay, so what is this 20 kilojoules per minute of air? Can anybody tell me what is this thing?
We've done
20, sorry, not, it is 20 kg per minute. What do you mean by 20 kg per minute? Kg per minute means it is the mass flow rate of air. So this is given 20 kg per minute. And already I have told you in the complete T1 subject, always this mass flow rate of air you have to convert in second. You should not keep it in minute or hour. Always you have to convert this mass flow rate into second. So if we will convert this mass flow rate into second, so 1 minute is 60 seconds. So this must 20 by 60 kg per second. So if we will solve this 1 by 3 is 0.333 kg per second. Once you calculate, if I was wrong, then you tell me. Okay, so 1 by 3 means 0.333 kg per second. This is the mass flow rate of the air given. It is compressing 20 kg per minute of air from 110 kilopascal 30 degrees Celsius to 600 kilopascal. Now can you tell me what is this 110 kilopascal, what is 30 degrees Celsius, and what is 600 kilopascal? What is this 110 kilopascal? It is compressing the air from 110 kilopascal 30 degrees Celsius to 600 kilopascal. Means initial temperature of air is 30 degree. Initial pressure of air is, yes, initial pressure of air is 110 kilopascal. And from this pressure, it is compressing it to 600 kilopascal. So can you see here pressure is increasing from 110 kilopascal to 600 kilopascal. If pressure is increasing, this means it is compressing the air. That is what the function of a compressor. So initially the pressure of air is 110 kilopascal. So P1 equal to 110 kilopascal. Initially the temperature of air is 30 degrees Celsius. So T1 is equal to 30 degrees Celsius, and always you have to convert this into Kelvin. Okay, so it will becomes 303 Kelvin, and the final pressure of air is 600 kilopascal. So final pressure of the air is 600 kilopascal. So you take care one thing, the unit of P1 and P2 should be same. Either both the units should be in kilopascal, or both the units should be in megapascal, or both the units should be in bar. Okay, because why? Because in the formula we have to take a ratio of P2 by P1. Okay, we have to take a ratio of P2 by P1. So that's why the unit of P1 and P2 should be same. Okay, so here P1 unit is kilopascal, P2 unit is kilopascal. So we do not have to do anything. What happens sometimes in the question paper, this P1 unit they will give in megapascal, P2 unit they will give in kilopascal. So in that case, you have to convert this megapascal into kilopascal. 1 megapascal is 10 to the power 3 kilopascal. Okay, so you have to keep in your mind that the unit of P1 and unit of P2 should be same. Okay, for example, here unit of P1 is kilopascal, unit of P2 is also kilopascal, so no problem. Next, and delivers it to receiver. Law of compression is PV to the power 1.25 equal to constant. So can you tell me what is this 1.25? Law of compression is given PV to the power 1.25. PV to the power 1.25 is equal to constant. So what is this 1.25? So this indicates gamma value equal to 1.25, and we will consider it as adiabatic process. because whether it is adiabatic process or polytropic process, the formula will remain same. And mechanical efficiency is given 80%. Okay, so mechanical efficiency is equal to 80%, or how much it is? 0.8. What we have to calculate? We have to calculate power input to the compressor. Can you tell me what is this power input to the compressor? Whether this is brake power or indicated power? Can you tell me? We have to find out the power input to compressor. So power input to compressor, this means we have to calculate brake power or we have to calculate indicated power. Can you tell me? 344 indicated power, 321 brake power. Okay, it is not indicated power, it is brake power. Okay, so you see, if it is written power input to the engine, in case of IC engine, input power is indicated power, but instead of compressor, input power is brake power. Why input power is brake power? Because just now I have explained. Okay, so this is the engine seal, this is the compressor, this is the motor. How this compressor will start? When this motor will start, this motor will rotate the crankshaft. Okay, so the input to this engine is, because we are not supplying the fuel to the engine, then how the engine will run? The engine will run with the help of this motor. This motor will run this engine. When this motor will rotate, the crankshaft will rotate. And this, when the crankshaft will rotate, then only this piston will move up and down. So input to this engine will be given by the motor. And this motor is connected with crankshaft. Okay, so input to this engine will be given by motor to the crankshaft. And from crankshaft, we are not getting indicated power. From crankshaft, we are getting brake power. So for a compressor, the input power is brake power and output power is indicated power. It will change. That is the difference between engine and a compressor. In case of IC engine, input power is indicated power and output power is brake power. But in case of compressor, it will reverse. In case of compressor, the input power is brake power and output power will be indicated power. Okay, so don't get confused over here. So in this question, we have to calculate power input to the compressor. Okay, so input to the compressor, power input to the compressor means we have to calculate brake power of the engine. Okay, so you have to calculate the brake power of the engine in this case, right? Now how to calculate? So first we will write the formula of mechanical efficiency. What is the formula of mechanical efficiency? Mechanical efficiency, eta m equal to indicated power, that is output power, divided by brake power into 100. That implies, what is mechanical efficiency? Mechanical efficiency, we have 80% or 0.8. So that implies 0.8 is equal to indicated power, we don't know. Brake power, we have to calculate into 100. Okay. So suppose this is equation 1. Now what is our m? Yes. Any doubt? Okay. So brake power we have to calculate and indicated power. Now we have to calculate this indicated power. And what is this indicated power? Just now I have explained. This indicated power means power required to compress the air. Indicated power means power required to compress the air. Okay, so we will calculate the indicated power. Okay, that is equal to, what is the formula? Same formula we have to apply here. The formula of the work done, that is gamma by gamma minus 1. Gamma divided by gamma minus 1. Okay, mass flow rate of air into R into T1. Mass flow rate of air into R into T1. whole into P2 by P1 whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. P2 by P1 whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so always you remember. Okay, so this is the output power on the compressor. This is the formula to calculate output power of the compressor. So that here all the values we will put. So what is the value of gamma? So gamma value is 1.25. So 1.25 divided by gamma minus 1. So it will be 1.25 minus 1 into what is mass flow rate of air? Mass flow rate of air 0.333 0.333 into what is the value of R? R is universal gas constant. So the value of R equal to 0.287 kilojoules per kg Kelvin. Okay, we will keep this unit in kilojoules only because power we will get in kilowatt. Okay, so 0.287 into what is T1? T1 is 303 Kelvin. T1 is 303 Kelvin into what is P2 by P1? P2 is 600, P1 is 110. So 600 divided by 110 whole to the power gamma is 1.25 minus 1 whole divided by 1.25 minus 1. So now you solve this one and tell me how much indicated power we are getting in kilowatts. Solve this one and what is the answer we are getting, you tell me. So we are getting 57.92. Okay, 57.92 kilowatts we are getting as indicated power. Okay, now this value we will put here and directly we will get the brake power. So from equation 1, what we have? 0.8 equal to indicated power divided by brake power into 100. That implies 0.8 equal to indicated power we got 57.92, 58.48, which is correct. 57.92 or 58.48. Two answers we are getting. Anybody else? If we take into 100, efficiency should be 80. Efficiency should be 80. Why? How efficiency is 80? It is 80%. 80% means 80 by 0.80 by 100. 80 by 100 is 0.8 percentage. Aptitude you are studying na CRT classes. 80% means 80 by 100. Okay, 80 by 100 means what? 2 point if you will take, it will be 0.8, not 80. 302, 305. Are you clear or not? Okay, so this answer we are getting 58.48. 344. Why you got 57.92? 58.48 we are getting. Okay. 58.48. Okay. So if 58.48 we will write 0.8 equal to, this will be 58.48 whole divided by brake power into 100. Sorry, not 100 here. We should not put 100. Yes, 305 you are correct. Because already we are getting in percentage. So from this directly we will calculate brake power. How much it is? Calculate just 58.48 divided by 0.8. 73.1. Yeah. 73.1 kilowatt. Okay, so why, right, 73.1 kilowatt. So why I have not written the 100 here? Because if you are multiplying 100 here, then efficiency you have to take 80. 305 was correct. Okay, if we will multiply 100 here, so if then efficiency we have to take as 80. But efficiency already, this percentage symbol already we have converted to decimal, that is 0.8. So no need to multiply 100 here. Okay, once again I am repeating, if you are multiplying 100, then in place of efficiency you take 80. But since we have converted this efficiency into decimal, 80% is 0.8 we have converted, so that's why no need to multiply 100 over here. Direct input power, indicated power by brake power, you solve it, and that brake power will get 73.1 kilowatts. Okay, right. So in this way we can solve this question. Okay, so this is the answer for question number 7B. So in this way, this question number 7B will be solved. This is very simple question. Just you have to put the formulas and you will get the answer. But here the only difference is the formula of mechanical efficiency. Why? Because in case of compressor, whatever the mechanical, sorry, in case of IC engine, whatever the formula of mechanical efficiency we have taken, that is brake power by indicated power. But here in compressor, this formula will reverse, this formula will change. Okay. Here the formula becomes indicated power divided by brake power. Okay, so this formula you have to keep in your mind. If it is compressor, then mechanical efficiency is indicated power by brake power. Okay, and how to calculate the indicated power? From the work done formula. From the work done formula, we can calculate the indicated power. Okay, and normally in the question paper, this brake power value directly they will mention, or they will ask you to calculate the value of this brake power. For example, in this question, whatever the question we have solved here, in this question they asked us to calculate the power input to the compressor. So power input to the compressor is nothing but brake power. Whereas power input to a IC engine, if the problem is from IC engine, then in that case power input to the IC engine becomes indicated power. So this will change, the input power will be changed. If it is IC engine, then power input is indicated power. If it is a compressor, power input is brake power. This thing you keep in your mind. The formula will just reverse if we are applying it on the compressor. So that's all for today. We will not discuss much, because this is the important thing that you have to keep in your mind, because students used to do mistakes over here. Okay, so what they are doing in this problem, what they are doing when they will apply the formula of mechanical efficiency, they will write brake power by indicated power, and in that manner the complete process will be wrong. Okay, so this thing you keep it in your mind. If you are solving a problem of compressor, then mechanical efficiency formula will be reverse of the IC engine. In IC engine, whatever the formula you have taken, that formula will become reverse if you are solving a problem of compressor. In IC engine, mechanical efficiency is brake power by indicated power. But here in compressor, the formula will reverse. It will become indicated power by brake power. Okay. So you try to keep this in your mind. Okay. This problem, once again, I will put in the group, go through it. Okay. One more new problem also I will put in the group. One more new problem means I will show you the question. Okay, it's not there. Okay, one more new question also related to these things I will put in the group. Try to do it, and if you are getting the answer, you send me the answers. Okay, similar type of problem only I will put in the group. Okay, so you try to solve the question, and when you are getting the answer, you take a screenshot and you send me the answers in WhatsApp. Okay, so that's all about for today's class. Once again, we will meet tomorrow, and some more problems we are going to solve related to air compressor. Okay, so have a good day. Bye.
Right. Good morning, my dear students.